Hey guys, what's going on? Over here, headed to a call here in Kennesaw. Got a fairly easy day today. I got just a heat maintenance on a couple suites at a dance academy in Kennesaw, and then got to pick up a heat strip kit at Lennox and go back up to Cumming and install the heaters on an air handler. Hopefully everybody's week is going as smooth as it can possibly go. Just wanted to make a little video on something I came across yesterday that it was kind of funny and interesting at the same time. I figured I'd make a little blog about it. So yesterday I got out of work. But I didn't go to work. I'm thinking about Wednesday. Yesterday, yeah, I didn't go to work yesterday. I had my day off. Had a couple things to take care of. One of which is my younger sister. She lives up in Cartersville. She bought a place, and the unit wasn't doing anything. Wasn't heating or cooling. So, long story short, it's a bad blower capacitor. Well, it was a 10 microfarad capacitor, and I didn't have one with me, so I had to go out to a local supply house in Cartersville to pick one up. And that's where the story begins. So I walk into the supply house, I'm at the counter, and a guy comes in, contractor, has his own business, pretty well established in that Cartersville area, and the guy's probably about in his mid-50s, and he walks up to the counter and he slaps what looks to be a flame sensor on the sorry for the lighting, guys. This I got the sun just blazing over here on this side. Anywho, he slaps a flame sensor on the table on the counter, and he tells the guy that it's broken. And the guy looks at him at the counter and he says, well, what's going on? You know, what's the situation? He says, you know, when you start the furnace up, you put the thermostat on heat, that little rod pointing at the flame sensor is supposed to glow, and gas valve opens up and you know, it ignites the gas. And as he's doing this, he's holding up the flame sensor to the guy, you know, to the guy's face. And myself and another technician from another company, we're chatting, we're next to each other, and we're looking at this along with another counter guy, and we were just cracking up because sure enough, it was just a flame sensor. That's what he was holding up. It was pretty obvious from where we were standing. The guy was just holding a flame sensor, and he was swearing up and down that it was some type of magical igniter. So the guy at the counter tells him, no sir, that's a flame sensor, that doesn't do any type of igniting. And he says, the guy's arguing him down for 5 minutes. I mean, it's I don't know why I didn't think about it. I think I left my phone in the truck. Excuse me, I left my phone in the truck, or else I would have gotten some type of clip of it. It was hilarious. So fast forward to the end of the conversation, the guy at the counter is basically telling the guy, the contractor, who's mistaken, how the flame sensor works, what it does in the furnace, and you know, this and that, and that he, you know, telling him the two different type of your standard ignition sources, you know, being a hot surface igniter or spark ignition. And you know, I got a laugh out of it along with everybody in the supply house, but it's kind of sad. You know, it got me thinking about what you have a contractor that's been in business for over 20 years, going to people's homes, going to commercial buildings, most likely, and doing, you know, work, service, and probably one of the most basic things in gas heat 101, he didn't understand at all. I mean, it was complete. It was like, I mean, how do you confuse an igniter with a flame sensor? To me, it's just, you know, I was thinking maybe, you know, a spark igniter, you know, because they use, you know, that you got the two little rods on them normally, and, you know, made out of usually the same material and looks somewhat similar to a sensor. But I mean, anybody that knows what they're doing, you would think a guy that's been doing it for 20 plus years knows the difference between a spark igniter and a flipping flame sensor. But you know, it really got me thinking about how sad it is in this industry, where you got guys that don't really know what they're doing, and they're going out there to people's homes and charging them, and how many misdiagnosed calls and repairs and investments and money that on the customers' end has been made due to guys not knowing what they're doing. And no way at all am I saying I know everything, and you know, nothing like that. But I mean, you would think something like that's pretty basic, even for an entry-level technician straight out of school. I mean, my wife even knows what a flame sensor is and what it does. But yeah, you know, and it kind of ties in with the subject of, you know, experience, you know, because that'll be the same guy that'll start, you know, writing all the stuff on a HVAC forum or a YouTube comment or something like that, talking about, you know, that we don't know our butts from a hole in the ground, and we don't know crap, because, you know, it's all about experience, and they've been doing this for X amount of years, and, you know, we can't teach them nothing. And you look at a guy that's been in business for 20 plus years, and you would think, yeah, you know, he's right, you know, he's holding all this experience. But I think experience can go both ways. You can be doing something for 20 years and doing it the wrong way for 20 years, or you can be on the other end of the spectrum and doing something for 20 years the right way and have the good experience, have the needed experience that you need, from, you know, trial and error, and really going through a wide variety of different service calls and different things that you may overcome in a, you know, on an everyday HVAC service life, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, you know, we're the guy leaves and we're talking about it, you know, and the guy at the counter says, he tells me, says, this guy's been in business for 20 years, and, you know, he's, you know, known in the area, pretty well known. And, you know, that to me, that's just, it's kind of sad. It really is. I think, you know, guys coming out of school can be easily fooled by following an individual that's been doing, like that gentleman, that's been doing stuff for 20 plus years or whatever, and swear up and down they're teaching them the ropes, when really they're not learning much at all, or just learning everything completely incorrect. So you just want to make sure, you know, if you're fresh out of school or new to the field, you know the basics, you know, especially coming out of school, you know the typically the basics of HVAC, and you need to take that, and when you're riding along with a technician or a contractor that you know, experienced, a lot of times you can kind of tell if something's correct or something's incorrect. You know, it's not always going to be by the books, obviously, but you just got to be very careful of who you're being instructed, who you're working under, making sure that, you know, you are learning the right thing, how to do proper troubleshooting and identification of different parts and stuff like that. And on the other end, you know, as far as the homeowners, the customers, you know, making sure when you call a service company, and this goes in any type of industry, plumbing, electrical, doesn't really make a difference, you know, general contractors, whatever, you want to make sure, you know, do your research on the company, you know, get some reviews, whether it's on Angie's List or whatever, and try to find try to find out if they're a pretty good reputable company, and if they have any red flags, you know, and because it's scary thinking about it. You have a guy working on your equipment that doesn't know the basics, and it's been doing it for so many years, and that can claim that, you know, he's the hottest thing since sliced bread, you know. And anyone with a trained eye and a trained mind and just basic HVAC knowledge can really know better, you know. It's sad. Anyways, figured I'd give you guys a little vlog here while I'm driving to this call. I see the sun's covering my face over here because it's beaming over here on this side of the interstate. So I'll cut this video short here. If you like the video, comment, subscribe, and if you guys have any funny stories that you guys encountered in the supply houses or, you know, factories and stuff like that, feel free to put them all in the comments. I would like to get a laugh off of that. It doesn't necessarily have to be what I had to go through, as far as, you know, seeing somebody doesn't know. I was kind of confused about basic things, but, you know, any type of funny story is always a good form of entertainment. Alrighty guys, see you on the next one.